Hey, what's going on, guys? In today's video, we're taking a look at the next in Hemoxian's Meow Woof Secret Service line, the Husky model kit here. And now in the previous video, we took a look at the Colaji release, which was super fun. Make sure you go back and check that out if you missed it. But for today, we're going to be taking a look at the Husky, which is, of course, a tiny, chibi little cute Husky with its own kind of construction mecha, which is very fun. So Hemoxian packs these with a lot of really cool stuff aside from just the model kit on its own. So let's go ahead and get into it here for today's video. All right, before we get into all the awesome contents inside, we'll check out the box here. And as we saw in the review of the Colaji, the two of these boxes actually fit together to make one big piece of artwork there between the two of them. So that's really cool. But once again, some absolutely adorable artwork here on the front with this cool construction mecha. It's got the kind of backhoe arm and the wrecking ball over here on this side. So I imagine we're gonna have like some wire or string or something for that inside. It should have a lot of really cool stuff inside. This box is actually slightly larger, a little bit thicker than the Colaji box, but here you can see on the ends, we're just gonna have the same artwork there. And on the bottom of the box here, we've got some more information, images there showing the main kit of like the character kit anyway. And again, the hat is gonna be magnetized. We've got a couple different options, whether you wanna have it sitting or standing. We've got the dog hook as one of the, I don't know, it's not exactly weapon or accessories, just kind of parts of the mecha. The bulldozer mouth, and it looks like that is going to be interchangeable, whether you want to have the hook or the wrecking ball there. That's the King Kong demolition ball, as they're calling it. We've got the bracket and diorama base, which is just going to be the base for it. And it looks like we're going to have one of these trailers in here as well, or two, I'm not exactly sure, because it mentions about if you purchase multiple, you can keep connecting them together. But I don't know exactly how many we've got in the box with this. I would imagine two of them, right? But it might only just be one. Let's see. As we're taking a look here at the top of the box, it does look like maybe it's just the one. You can see one attached here onto the back, and these images showing all of the kit, all kind of built and painted together. This one does also include a road sign and some stickers for all of that. So there's how it looks on the front. We've got the artwork over here and some information there in Chinese and in English there as well. So let's go ahead and pop it open and see. And we should have a good idea of what to expect in this one after building the Colaji, but I'm interested in these extra bits, if there's going to be anything different. So once again, we have the same metal base plate part there for the display base. Very nice. Our little quality control paper in here, which is also nice. Again, unfortunately though, it's not a sticker. That would have been cool if it was. But we do have some stickers here, both of which are like this like plastic type sticker. So this one's going to be for that road sign. And then we've got all these that are going to be in like kind of metallic black, red, and then one little like blue one there for around on the construction unit. That looks really nice. And then like we saw with the Colaji, and we've seen this with past Hemoxian kits as well, I believe, we have this kind of like quick guide here, which is basically telling us what all parts are going to be used for each section of the build. So like for this arm, kind of this part of the body over here, you're going to use all these parts from those runners. And then for this side, for that arm, you're going to use those parts from those runners. So basically you can use this as a way to cut out all the parts ahead of time and section those off if you wanted to do it like that. And then we've got our construction guide here, which is this small booklet. It's all in full color, which is nice. And on the first couple pages, we've just got a bunch more information and photos like what we saw on the outside of the box. That's also on the last couple pages are going to have some more of that there as well. So a great reference for everything that you have here with this, because we kind of have a lot of different stuff that this can do, which is really cool. On the couple pages here towards the beginning, then this is also going to be our parts guide, everything that's included there for like the parts list, showing all the runners and everything. And then it's just construction. So it starts off with the character model first, and then the construction unit here. So it's going to go through all of that. For some bits here, like with the wire, it does give you detailed instructions there in Chinese and in English, which is nice. So this should all be pretty straightforward to follow, and looks like it's going to be a really fun build. I think very unique, that's for sure. So there's all of that. And then once again, we've got the Meow Woof Secret Service setting book. Now here, unfortunately, this is the exact same setting book that we saw with the Colaji. So if you're getting both kits, you're gonna get two of this same booklet, which is kind of a shame that we didn't get different booklets for them, but it is a really, really cool booklet just to kind of skim through this because we already saw this before. This has the box art there at the front, a little bit of kind of background about the world that this takes place in there, and everything's both in Chinese and in English, so that's awesome. And then we've just got a bunch of really awesome art in here. So yeah, we took a look through this in its entirety in the Colaji review, so you can go back and check that out if you're interested. but there's just a ton of really cool artwork in here from this series, and kind of a preview of what will hopefully be some more model kits to come out in the future from this line. So hopefully Hemoxian will continue the line and make the rest of these as well. Some other bits we've got in here, this little bag of all of the magnets we're gonna use for this. And then in here is gonna be the string we're gonna use. So it is just gonna be this kind of nylon braided string there. It looks to be like a kind of very dark brown color. And then our pre-painted packaged parts here, basically just the parts for the dog body, the head and the sitting and standing body, and then the eyeballs for them and a couple of other bits there as well, but there's all of that. As for the runners, then here we've got the display base there in black, the main display base plate there, and then runners K1 and K2 in black as well are going to be the other parts there for the base. Runner A here in this kind of construction orange color, looks like mostly parts there for the trailer, some very large parts there. Runner B here in this what is essentially black kind of color here is the other main color that we're going to have for the kit. Runner C1, we've got a couple of parts here in a kind of reddish brown. Then C2 we have two of is some more parts here in that construction orange. Runners D and E you can see are going to be slightly different in color. The D runner is a little bit lighter and the E runner is a little bit more darker kind of orange color there. Runner F1 we have two of for some parts here in what looks to be like a very dark gunmetal kind of color. The same thing here for runner F2 for some more of the mechanical bits there. The G runner is just going to be here in kind of like a standard medium gray color. And then runners H1 and H2 are definitely here in a gunmetal kind of color there for some of the metallic bits. We've got one of runner H1 and then two of runner H2 here. Lastly then, runner I1 has got a couple of parts there in clear red, and I2 we have two of for some more parts here in gray. And that's it for everything here in the box. Let's go ahead and get this put together and check it out. All right, then here is the Husky all built up. Again, a nice size for this one and just a really fun construction for it. Again, like we saw with the Colaji, this one also had pretty simple construction. So if this is something you wanted to build, with your kids or, any small children, they can certainly enjoy this kit as well. But I really like it, really fun design, a lot of really cool features to this one with it having the different kind of construction equipment built into there. And then we've got its kind of trailer, some really cool accessories and different features and gimmicks and everything that you can do with this, and we'll get into all that. But let's first just start off by taking a look at our included accessories here. Let's get into it. And so of course, once again, to start off, we've got our two different versions of our dog character, the sitting and standing version. When you pop that out of the seat there, the seated version does not have a tail at the back. The standing version has the tail. The standing version also has magnets on the feet so it can stand to the base. But again, the eyes are interchangeable, the heads are interchangeable. You have the smiling face or this more kind of aggressive looking face there. You can swap up the eyes. And as again, you can see the eyes are going to be a little bit too loose here in the head, so they kind of want to drift. If I'm shaking this around, it's going to be kind of moving the eyes around a bit. We do once again have this kind of key piece here which you can use to move the angle of the eyes by taking the head apart. You can adjust the angle there. As I mentioned in the review of the Colaji kit, the heads are kind of difficult to take apart just because I think like the coating, the paint coating that they have on this just makes it so that they're like really tight. So I'm just going to leave that as it is for now, but the heads are interchangeable. And then once again, like we saw with the Colaji kit, the hat does have a magnet in here as well. So that's just going to magnetize right onto the top of either of the heads there. So you can swap that however you might like. And so yeah, those are going to be our options for the main little guy here. And then the display base. So the display base is going to be the same with this one. You've got that metal piece set in this plastic base. You've got this sign here, this time instead of the sign that we saw with the Colaji kit, where it was like a pedestrian crossing sign. This one's just this kind of construction warning sign here. And then we've got our piece which is going to hold up the kit. Now, both of these magnetize to the base there like that. The sign does have a ball joint at the bottom. You can kind of adjust the angle of that as you want. And then for the display arm, there's a couple of points of articulation. This does not hold the kit up off the ground, or I guess you could maybe like try to balance it, but it's really just kind of meant to support the kit if you have it in a pose where it kind of like can't stand really under its own weight. But we once again do have magnets in the bottom of the feet as well, so that will help it to balance. If you had like 1 foot up and 1 foot solid on the base, it's still not going to be enough because the kit is heavy enough to not really be able to support its own weight, even with 1 foot magnetized firmly to the base. That's where you can also just use the support arm there at the back just to kind of help hold up the kit. The support arm is a little bit different for this one compared with the Colaji. The connection piece here is a little bit longer because the connection point for this kit, instead of being like at the back, is on the underside up under there, so just for that to be able to fit. Now another option part that we have here is the dog hook. So here you've got this kind of wrecking ball which is on a string. We'll talk some more about that here in just a minute, but you have the option of removing that. So this is just an option piece. You can take that off and instead put the hook on here instead if you wanted that to just be more like a winch rather than a wrecking ball option there for that kind of shoulder, basically is where that's at. But last accessory to talk about here is just the small trailer. Now this is an accessory that, as it said in the manual, if you get multiple of this kit, you can attach multiple of them together just by using these connection points here. But this is going to attach up underneath the back in the same spot where the connection base will hold up the kit. So this will attach up there, and you've got a couple of points for articulation back and forth, up and down. And then the bed of this actually has this gimmick here where it kind of slides and then is meant to lift up, and then you can like drop the door of that if you wanted to make it look like it was actually like dumping something. So that will be able to lay down flat like that. You can close that up. The wheels do turn here like that, the underside, and then yeah, kind of lifts up and then kind of goes up at an angle. So it works kind of like that. And that's it for the accessories as they were. But as for like the kind of weapons, I guess, sort of, you could kind of call it here, we got the bulldozer mouth at the center, which is basically made up of these two sub arms. So this is kind of one piece, but you can actually separate that, and these are each individually articulated. You can open that up, and you also have like little teeth that fold out of there, if I can get it. There we go, like that. Those two teeth at the top and this one here at the bottom, like that. And so that will open and close there, and so you can each individually articulate those, or you can kind of situate them so that they're connected together here at the front. And you can see there's like a little peg in the middle that holds the two halves together, so you can use that just as like one loader there at the front. You got those cool clear parts in there for what sort of look like bug eyes sort of here for this. Those can be individually articulated. You can move them up and down there a little bit like so. For the one arm here, this has a couple of points of articulation and some pretty cool working gimmicks there with that. You can kind of move this around. I do find it to be a little bit loose, so that if you have it up, it does sort of want to like sink down like that. So just kind of depending on how you have the pose, if you just had it like outstretched like that, it's going to want to fall down there. So you might want to put something in there to just like tighten up that joint a bit, just to make it so it's able to hold up its weight a bit better. But a pretty cool gimmick for that. And then you just have a ball joint connection at what is essentially like the shoulder here for that. Up inside what is like the cockpit area, you have that brown part there for the seat, and there's a little sticker in there for like the control panel. And over here for this arm, obviously we've got the 3 fingers. Each of those are individually articulated, so you can kind of close this hand up like that. And then this claw is on a ball joint, so you can move that around a bit. We've got an elbow joint here, and then again it's connected at the shoulder via a ball joint. Now for the string for the winch or the wrecking ball, the way you have to have it is kind of wrapped around this front part a few times and then wrapped around here. So when you extend this out, the number of times you have it wrapped around this front bar here is never going to change, because it's basically looped around that. It will unroll and then roll back up from this spool up here at the top. So just keep in mind when you're like winding it up in there to make sure you wind it around here a few times, otherwise it might look a bit odd, but just kind of depending on how you want it. I also found this part to be a little bit difficult to rotate, so I've just been using like the back end of my tweezers here just to try to rotate that part, and it's possible that I have it just installed incorrectly. The instructions were not super clear on this. You know, if you unscrew that more, you can let out more of this wire, just kind of however much you want. Something like that. There's plenty on there. There's plenty more than you might need, but that could definitely be used for some pretty cool kind of like a diorama or vignette kind of setups if you wanted to use this hooked onto something, or again like swinging the wrecking ball or something. Obviously it's just a loose obviously it's just like a kind of a loose string, so it's not going to be able to support its own weight. You might want to replace that with like an actual wire or something, so that it could actually be able to look like it's like flying through the air without having to use like a support arm or something for that. Would be a good idea. Lastly then, there is another really cool gimmick built in here to the feet, how you have the legs attached via ball joints and a couple of joints here along the way. Those look nice there in that metallic, but you notice it's got kind of like sandals on here for feet. You can actually take these parts off, and the front part slides off the front there just like a slipper, and then the back part of that pops off as well, has that little bone motif, and you'll notice on the bottom side of the foot it has the dog footprint, and this part here, which the back attaches to, that will then fold up inside there so that the feet will then be flat. And then these two parts, which we removed, can fit together like that, and this forms a slipper which it can then throw for doing the whole throwing the slipper meme. So that's kind of another cool little gimmick that it has in here. Very fun. Last thing too then I'll point out is just the use of these stickers, those kind of like mirror finish stickers you see on the side here and here. I don't love those. I kind of wish that they were just like a kind of a different material and not like this like shiny dark chrome kind of thing. I don't really like that as much, but you also have these metallic red ones here at the back, something like that. Kind of would have liked if this was just like clear red parts like we have on the top here, because then if you wanted to customize this by adding LEDs into this, there's certainly plenty of room on the inside. You could have that light coming out the top and then coming out the back here as well, but that'd be pretty easy enough to customize that. If you're going through the trouble of adding an LED into here, just to basically drill out and cut out those sections there, replace it with just like a clear piece of plot plate on the back and paint it like clear red or whatever, and then you can have your light shining out the back, I think would be pretty cool. These little bits here at the back also can be adjusted a little bit. These kind of exhaust pipes, you can sort of adjust the angle of them, kind of, not really a whole lot, but there is that there as well. So once again with this one, it's a really cool set with a lot of really cool gimmicks built into this. I think this is another one where the kit looks great straight out of the box, a lot of great details on there and a lot to enjoy. It's going to look even better when it's all painted up and weathered and everything. If you paint this up, weather it up like a piece of construction equipment and everything, it's just going to look so cool. So I really appreciate the potential that we have here with this one. But again, even if you don't want to do that, like we saw with the Colaji kit, this kit is very simple, very beginner friendly. If you wanted to, I mean, because obviously has a very like kind of childlike tone to it, right? If this is something you wanted to get and build together with kids, or you wanted to get it for a child, this is definitely something that they could handle and they would enjoy. I think it's a lot of fun. As I mentioned in this review, and then if you guys saw the live build as well, there was a couple of points where the instructions were not super clear, so it might be something that you might have to like help a kid with. But either way, guys, it's just another very fun, very unique kit, and just I appreciate this kind of stuff from Hemoxian because they make such really fun, unique model kits like this, and the quality is really nice as well. A lot of really cool gimmicks built into this one with the different construction equipment gimmicks that it's got going on, as well as the small trailer there out the back. So you could definitely see using this for different dioramas or scenes that you can make, and then also in use with the Colaji kit as well, posing the two of them together. They're roughly about the same size. I actually thought that this one would be a bit larger because it's a larger box. It just has more pieces. The Colaji kit is actually slightly larger, I think, just in terms of like the height. They're kind of like differently orientated in terms of like the bulk though. But again, the main thing for me is just how unique this kit is just on its own and the opportunities that you have for customizing this. I could definitely see putting a lot of time into customizing this with more details and painting and weathering and all that, and it's just going to look really, really cool. Even LEDs, as I mentioned too, I think would look great on this. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, and if you want to check out this kit and the Colaji for yourself, everything else from Hemoxian and lots of other cool model kits, paints, tools, supplies, all that good stuff, you can check the link in the video description to US at Gundam Store. Got all that stuff there on the site. And as always, thank you guys so much for checking out the review today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and if you're not subscribed, you can subscribe there as well. I appreciate your guys' support. Thank you so much. Until next time, hope y'all are doing well. Bye guys.